As we updated the UI and that also covered the page reload policy, I'm just going to record a new feature video that talks about this functionality. One of the very central concepts in Boozang when you create a test, which you can see here on my screen, I'll create a new test, and except for the test name and of course what URL the test will go to, right? The path of the test. You also have a reload policy. So one is reload page on URL mismatch, one is reload page on host mismatch, never reload page and always reload page. So I will just illustrate the differences here, okay? So let's say I'm in a test here called add user, and as you can see now from the icon, it's actually to never reload. That means that when I run this test, of course, if I'm on the right page, it will execute perfectly fine. But if I actually change the page here to some other page, it's actually going to fail. So what you want to do is you want to use never reload. Typically, for instance, in Cucumber, when you have a test step, which is a validation, or a test that relies on where you are in the browser, a test that basically follows another test. So you assume that when the test is run, it's in the right place. If you want to make it more resilient, you can of course say always reload. So let's say always reload, we're now in the wrong page and we will now play this test. So what it will do is, of course, it will reload the page to the right page and execute the test. So it will be successful. The default behavior when you create a new test is actually reload page on URL mismatch. So what that means is that it looks at the URL, so it doesn't reload the page unnecessarily. So basically, if I am in yellow or blue, it will execute perfectly fine because it sees that the URL doesn't match, so it reloads the page. So that's usually what you want to do. But remember, for instance, if you have a validation, let's say a Cucumber step, which is a validation, and that kind of results in, looking at a previous step, and you don't want to reload the page, just make sure to use never reload for those. And in order to change that, you can easily do it here using the little edit pen. And of course, if you want to try and reload the page, simply hit the URL here. So that's it for the reload policy feature.